Ladies and gentlemen, we have a wonderful pleasure here today because we're getting test results from the field. This is Gaby with World Wildlife Fund, and she's their manager of digital marketing, and she's going to be taking us through a number of very interesting tests today.
Hopefully everyone can see our logo. Let me just cue up one more thing. Thanks, Nick, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Gaby Gollub. I'm the manager of digital fundraising at World Wildlife Fund, the world's largest conservation organization. I oversee the strategy and execution of our membership and fundraising campaigns, craft emails, and build and maintain our donation forms. I've been at WWF for 10 years, and I've learned a whole lot about A/B optimization tests from webinars just like this one, and from conducting tests myself over the years. I look forward to sharing with you a few tests that I ran in the past few months that will have long-lasting lessons for us and will hopefully inspire you to run some tests and see what works for your supporters. Oh, let me start that again. All right. So most of the tests that I'll be describing are from our Giving Tuesday and year-end campaigns of 2021. So for this first test, I was keen to see if this nudge, as you can see on the right, would encourage people to choose to give monthly for Giving Tuesday. Unfortunately, the effect it had was in fact to suppress conversions. A higher percentage of potential donors who landed on the version on the left went ahead with their gift. So a little history on this test. A couple of years ago, I had tested into the amounts shown on the left, 35, 60, and 100. Previously, our lowest amounts on our year-end forms were 25 and 50. So this time around, I wanted to test something I had heard about in this very webinar last August, the positive effect of round numbers, or numbers that are more familiar to our brains or divisible by familiar numbers. I was pleased to see that the ask amounts on the right led to a higher conversion rate, although having these higher suggested amounts actually didn't result in a higher average gift amount. It seemed to mainly reduce friction. I was pretty excited about this social proof nudge test. As it happened, $100 was the most popular donation amount on our year-end form, even though $75 was the pre-selected amount. So I wanted to test social proof language that encouraged people to make a choice because of what others are choosing. It seemed awkward to me to have a third amount, 100, pre-selected and just by itself. And it also seemed awkward if I pre-selected 75, but had that nudge language toward $100. So the test variant you can see on the right had both this language, most people choose $100, please give what you can, and a different pre-selected amount from the control. Our donors seemed to go for it, converting at a higher rate on the test. Although once again, it didn't have a statistically significant impact on the average gift amount. The most exciting test I've run in a long time is this one I want to tell you about. So here you can see our standard web promo for a campaign. It's a lightbox or a pop-up that has a large image, a headline, some text, and a button. I wondered if we could reduce the friction of immediately having to click through something you see if you were interested in donating to continue with your gift. So I worked with one of my colleagues on our web team to build what we called a curtain. When you landed on our homepage, you would see this full screen image, the same image that was in the lightbox, with the beginning of the donation form, the same text that was on the form and the same donation amounts. If you wanted to give, you could get started right away by choosing your gift amount. And guess what? This one was the clear winner. It brought in nearly twice as many donations as the Lightbox and its mobile equivalent from about the same size audience. We're going to be rolling this test out again in just a couple of weeks for a campaign, as well as for future campaigns. So I wanted to show you quickly how this actually worked. This is the image we used more for the year-end campaign. If you weren't interested in making a donation, you could just scroll past this curtain and you would see the hero image and the editorial content. And if you did want to give, you'd pick your amount on the homepage and click donate, and you'd land on this form and could fill it out. So this test is all about the power of less. We have some forms that we use for certain purposes that are divided into 3 steps, like many donation forms I'm sure you've seen. And for whatever reason, when I've tested 3 steps against just one, the donation amounts, your contact information, and your payment information, the 1-step version has been the winner. So instead, I wanted to see what would happen if the next chunk of the form just appeared below the previous chunk as donors clicked a continue button. It performed better, but it didn't win with statistical significance. The final test I wanted to share is in a totally different vein. Many of us send renewal emails to supporters every few days or weeks, and that provides frequent opportunities for testing. So I had tested into that control subject line a while ago, and recently I wanted to test this more direct request to see if people would in fact follow through and renew their membership. The results came in loud and clear. I normally resend these renewal emails a couple of times in a given month, and I didn't need to run the test again those couple of times because it was a resounding test is the winner result. So those are the test examples I have for you today. I welcome your questions, and thanks so much for the opportunity to share this information with you.
Well, and thank you so much for sharing it. We do have a question from Barb at Best Friends. Gaby, would you only do the higher dollar social proof at year end, or do you think it's an evergreen tactic?
I think it can be an evergreen tactic. I've wanted to test it on our main one-time donation form where we're running an artificial intelligence or machine learning test right now that's showing different donation amount, so I can't run it right now. But normally what I've seen for us is that either the default amount or even the lowest amount on the form is actually the most popular. And so I haven't really had an occasion to nudge people to something a little higher. So it was when I saw that $100 was the most popular donation amount at year end, I sort of leaned into that and could be genuine in saying that that's what most people were testing. But certainly you could play around with the language so that what you're communicating is accurate and honest, but certainly come up with other ways to nudge people to give a little higher.
And she also asks if a vendor is assisting with the AI targeting.
We have SAS 360 technology sort of woven into our website. So some folks at SAS have been working with someone on our data analytics team. So we've sort of executed it with their guidance.
And to add to your comments around the higher dollar social proof at year end, one of the things that we're seeing and have for the past, since about July, is an increase in average gift for new people coming onto organizations across organizations, kind of the inflation that's happening other places happening in first gift. And we chose first gift because it wouldn't be confounded by other variables. And so there may be an additional impetus to go to higher gift amounts. So I think it's opportunely timed. What would you say is the most surprising test result for you?
I feel like the most surprising test results are the ones where the control wins, because I normally don't take the time and energy to launch a test unless I think it's going to have the result that I desire. And whenever it doesn't work, I sort of think, what's wrong with our donors? Why don't they understand that this is more persuasive or more compelling? So I don't know that there's a single surprise result that I've seen. It's just tends to be when the test doesn't win, which unfortunately is a lot of the time, but I persevere and continue running tests all the time.
Well, so much of testing is the control is what you've already tested into. And so, yeah, that we make it tough to beat intentionally. Mm-hmm. Any other questions from the group? While folks are typing potentially, I did want to highlight the move of the year-end form amounts up to, we've talked about more fluid ask amounts. And so I think the $50 and $75 up from 35 to 60 was an interesting version of that. And so I really like to see that, and fascinating test results. And I think very actionable for folks on the call. If folks wanted to get in touch with you offline to hear more about these tests or brainstorm with you, how would you like folks to get in touch with you?
Yeah, that would be great. Please feel free. I'm going to paste a link to my LinkedIn page. Feel free to connect with me there. I'm just either sending me a message directly or to, I forget what it's called, but to basically make a connection on LinkedIn. I would welcome that.
Yeah, in my mind, everything's DMs. It's just direct message on LinkedIn, whatever they call it, it's something. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for presenting today. We're so appreciative of you joining. If other folks have tests that they would like to share with the audience, please let us know. We'd love to share more test results like this, and hope that you'll join us next month. Thank you.